Do you have a sense that you are standing on the precipice of a breakthrough in your business or in your leadership potential, but don't know how to sort of make that next leap? Well, let's change that today. Hi, my name is Clay Cutts. I'm a business and leadership coach. I'm the founder of Square Peg Coaching. I help good leaders become extraordinary leaders. I particularly serve those in the mental health and addiction treatment world. I would love to tell you that my career has been sort of straight up and to the right the whole time, and that would be a lie. It has not been. It's been zig and zag galore. And there have been several times where I felt like I was doing well, but I was at a ceiling, and I sensed that there was something more for me, and I couldn't move forward. And so I read books, which helped. I asked other people, and it helped. I talked to my therapist about it. That didn't help a whole lot, but helped me feel better about it. Um, but I couldn't quite make the big move that I wanted to make. Then I found coaching, right? And listen, if you're a therapist like me, I'm embarrassed to say that I made fun of coaching and coaches. I said, coaches, those are the people that couldn't make it in graduate school, right? And what I've come to understand is like that's just completely wrong. In fact, coaching is the thing that when I did the work and took the time and really found coaches that were in alignment with me, that were a good match. That's when my career, my leadership, my professionalism, my ability to serve people more deeply just slingshotted forward, grew incredibly. And today, if you're willing and interested, I'm here to help you do the exact same thing. So how does all this work? Well, it's a bigger story than I can explain in a few minutes of this video, but I'll give you the ideas. So it starts with self awareness. Look inside, like what's going on? What am I good at? What am I struggling with? Where do I need to grow? What do I really want? What would I love to do? What are my blind spots? I mean, if you can see your blind spots, remember, no one can lead others until they can lead themselves. Next is embracing vulnerability. To me, vulnerability is one of the most important leadership skills out there, and people push back at me on this, but it's okay. The more I work with folks, the more I'm convinced that this is important. You need to open up to learning and really unlearning too. Growth often means confronting fears and insecurities and limitations and just being uncomfortable. Growth and discomfort are the same thing, and vulnerability is a key ingredient in that recipe. Understand that it's okay to be vulnerable. And not only is it okay, it's required. So embrace it. Another important piece of this to moving from a good leader to an extraordinary leader is uh, really defining your leadership philosophy. Like what do you believe in? What kind of leader do you want to be? What are your values? What's your mission? Why do you do what you do? And these aren't just things that you write and put in a book or maybe you write on the wall of your lobby. When you create uh, the these philosophies and these guideposts and these values and these missions and these tools, they become metrics, they become filters that you can run decisions through so that you and your team can all be making decisions that are values based. That's how you bring a leadership philosophy, not just create it, but bring it to life. So the fourth step is about commitment to consistent effort and execution. There's a lot here. It's easy to say, well, just be more consistent. And what I found is that that's what's missing. I work with plenty of people who do stuff. The problem is that we do the wrong stuff, and that comes to coaching too. Clients call me, people call me and say, Clay, I want give me three, or two or one hint or tip. That's not really how it works. The value in coaching is incremental
internal, deep, transformative change that only happens over time. I'm committed to consistent effort with my coach. I've been working with coaches. I've worked with different ones over the years, but for years, and only brief periods in between coaches because of scheduling where I wasn't with a coach. Right. And I've seen the growth in myself, the growth in my business, the growth in my leadership because of that. And when my clients who come to me and they're consistent and they show up and they make coaching a priority and they're committed to consistent effort and execution, their lives change, their businesses change. So I invite you to commit and get sort of okay with doing some work on yourself because you're worth it. And finally, we're at the fifth step. This is really important. This is really being clear on what you want to create. What are your standards? What are your goals? Even though I'm not really crazy about the word goals for a lot of reasons. But there's a clarity here that's necessary. I'm going to work with this coach and I want to create something specific. And in fact, that's what I ask clients. When somebody comes to me and they're maybe going to be a client, and before I agree to work with them, I'll say, what do you want to create? I've probably said this elsewhere, but I've got two sort of requirements for people that I work with. Other coaches are different, but this is how I think about it. I don't necessarily work with people just in this industry or people of that gender or that profession or that age or the demographics or psychographics. I tend to have some patterns, but really what I'm looking for in clients are two things. One is they are working on something that they're really excited about. Maybe it's a business. Maybe they're writing a book. Maybe they're trying to blend a family. Maybe they're trying to reverse a health problem. Maybe whatever. And honestly, it could be something that I don't have a lot of interest in or don't know much about. What I'm interested in is their interest. So I'm looking for somebody who's really excited and inspired about something. The second thing is they are very committed or they're able to achieve a high level of commitment. Right. And so when I find somebody like that, the question that I have for them is, what do you want us to create together? And then in each individual call, I say, what do you want to create today in this call? This clarity. I bring clarity to what we're doing at the macro and at the micro. And so I challenge you to look at that for yourself. And if whatever coach you find to work with, get clear on what you're trying to create. That's going to help sort of guide what you're doing. It helps you, it prevents you from wandering off course because there's lots of interesting stuff to work on. Lots. And coaching works best when you're really sort of focused on digging deep on one particular thing. So keep that in mind. So how do I know? How do I know this works? I mean, the simple one answer is that intuitively it seems like it should. And the better answer is I've seen it. I've seen, I don't know, I lost count how many clients I've worked with. I've seen people change. And it's not because I'm such a great coach. It's just because I create this environment where people can do the work that they want to do. Right? And I've seen it in myself. I've worked with great coaches, worked with some of the best coaches in the world. And what they've brought out in me is clarity and commitment and consistency and vulnerability and my ability to have vision, right? And so what I invite you to take away from this conversation is the fact that, and I mean this in the most direct, this isn't a metaphor, right? What I'm about to say, you already have everything you need inside you to create whatever you want to create. You know enough to create the business that you want. You have enough information to write the book you want to write. You're talented enough to create the whatever the creative thing you're working on. You're loving enough to successfully raise your kids. You're open enough to create the relationship that you want, right? And this is not like rah rah you can do it stuff. This is like my very strong experience is that we are designed to be extraordinary. And what we do is we sink into mediocrity because it's comfortable. Right. And so this is coaching is not a journey of addition. And sure, I teach clients new skills and my coaches teach me new skills, but the real value, the real transformation comes from not addition, but subtraction. Getting rid of the stuff that doesn't help. Moving, sort of moving the vines of the jungle aside so you can see what's there. Chipping away the marble, the block of marble to expose the beautiful sculpture. Like that's what coaching is about. You have everything that you need already to become a limitless leader, to become a fabulous parent, to become the best partner possible for your significant other. All of that's in you. There's multiple ways to get to it, but coaching is the most direct way that I've found. So I encourage you, step into it. Own it. Find your greatness. Look inside, not outside. Step into your greatness and make an impact on yourself, on your family, on your community, on the world. Make the impact that you want to make. Leave the legacy that you want to leave. I know you can do it.